Hi, everyone. Super excited for everyone who's able to join live today. For those who haven't joined one of my free career astrology workshops, welcome, welcome. This one is extra special because we're really focused on intuition. So today I won't be going into a deep dive of your free report or really more of the basic stuff around astrology and specifically career astrology. Today I'm really focusing on the placements that really are going to stand out in terms of intuition activation. And we're going to be doing some exercises to help you activate and access your intuition as well. So it is a very, very interactive workshop with the basis of having some astrology knowledge of like, oh, these are some placements that I have that directly affect like how I connect with my intuition, whether you're like someone who is very new, kind of accessing your intuition, or someone who's always had it their entire life. So for those who are just joining, welcome, welcome. Drop into the chat where you are joining from. And oh yeah, obviously, I feel like everybody knows my name, but my name is Alice. Okay, let's get started here. I have a handy dandy presentation. If you're just joining, make sure that you have your free report and definitely have your expanded report if you've already gotten that. So today we're talking about intuition for career clarity. We're going to start with a grounding meditation. I'm going to share a little bit more about my story. And today I'll talk a little bit more about kind of like my job path, my career journey. I'll touch upon briefly what is intuition, and then how do astrology and intuition come together? Especially if you've been reading my newsletters, I've been talking about how water signs are naturally very intuitive, very creative. And if you have a water sign in your big three, so your sun, your moon, your rising, or your north node, one of your life lessons is really going to be focused on tapping into your intuition. So don't worry, I'm going to cover that. And then we're going to do some intuition exercises. Something that came up yesterday was energetic hygiene. So lately, really this year, all of my career astrology readings, I feel like 80% of them, there have been a lot of people who really need help with the energetic hygiene. If you're like, what is energetic hygiene? For those who have a lot of water signs in their chart, who feel very empathic, like people come to you with their problems. Sometimes it also manifests as people emotionally dumping on you, or you're just like, thinking about this person, and you message them like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you. Just really deeply connected to others and understanding how energy is always moving around us, you are really going to need to have a strong energetic hygiene practice. I like to say that most of us are just walking around through the world like it's like a snowstorm outside and you're naked. In the coming years, in the coming decades, we are really going to be learning more about the power of energetics, intuition, and the importance of energetic hygiene. So that's what I'm going to cover today. At the end, I probably will have time for one or two questions. I have a question that came in through email that I wanted to share on this live workshop because I think that it's going to be quite applicable to many people, especially if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and late 50s. All right, let's get started with that grounding meditation. So I want you to find a comfortable seat, sit nice and tall, and start to roll your shoulders back a few times. And then roll them forward. Then one more time, up and down the back. If your eyes aren't closed, I invite you to close your eyes. And start to breathe in deeply, noticing how you are feeling today. And we'll start with 3 cleansing breaths to really allow us to arrive into the digital room, into the present moment. So empty the breath out, take a deep breath in through the nose, and an audible exhale out through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. And one more deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. Can you breathe in a little bit more air? And let it go out through the mouth. Seal the lips. Start to breathe in and out through the nose. Feel the breath move through the back of the throat, down the length of the spine, and into the belly. And start to lengthen your inhales and extend out your exhales. And I invite you to set an intention for our session today. Allow this intention to organically come into your consciousness and be curious about what comes up. My invitation for you is to be open, curious, and most importantly, to have fun. Know that you have an opportunity today to really focus on accessing your intuition, that innate knowing and innate wisdom that is always available to you. Trust that the answers are always coming within, and external sources like myself are really here just to guide you and to share some insights that allow yourself to really open yourself up to all the possibilities that are available to you. The possibilities are infinite when the mind feels infinite. My job here today is to allow you to feel expansive, open, and free. Trust in your divine timing and knowing that things are unfolding as they should, that everything is happening for you and not to you. Empty the breath out. Take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. Take a few more moments of stillness here. And as you're ready, gently open your eyes, coming back to the present moment and the present space. For those who just joined, welcome. Make sure you have your free report and a notebook, a pen, or somewhere to take notes handy. I'm going to share my story next and how I started Saturn, where you've gotten your free career astrology report, and a little bit more about my career journey. So, I have not always really been in tune with my intuition in this way. I first started working in consumer marketing. I went to school for public relations, East Asian studies, and I really never thought that I would get into the wellness space in this way. I feel like it's very much so a liminal space, exploring spirituality, and really just allowing myself to bring more meaning into my own life and others by showcasing how astrology and other modalities are really powerful tools. And really, for like up until like my 20s, I mean, my 30s, all of my 20s was really doing things that I thought I should be doing. So once I graduated, I got a job in my industry. I worked in the PR marketing department at a Hilton hotel in Shanghai, China. I decided to move abroad, so I was in Shanghai for most of my 20s, and then my career like rapidly grew and progressed. Because I was working in digital marketing, it was something that was really, really new. So for my millennials and my boomers and everyone who's not Gen Z, I started my digital marketing career, social media career, 2009, 2010, when community managers were just beginning to be a thing. It was like insane that like there were jobs for social media, because social media very much so at that point was like really fun, and was considered something more like a fun thing, a hobby, rather than something that could be a job. And so I started creating communities on Facebook, on Twitter. We didn't have Instagram at that point, and when I was in China, it was on the Chinese platforms. There wasn't a lot of people who are experienced in creating like online profiles and platforms and starting to engage people in that way and bring in business through that type of e-commerce channel. So I worked in that space for about like 5 or 6 years, like in my 20s. I moved from Hilton to a PR company, Publicis Group, for those who are familiar in the PR and ad world. And really, it was right around my Saturn return, or like the beginning of it, or like the pre-years of it, that I started to like sense, I'm like, I don't know if I could be doing this for the next 20, 30 years. I very much so felt like my efforts weren't really going anywhere. I was doing like social media campaigns and strategy for like P&G and Marriott and Mexico tourism, but at the end of the day, I just didn't really feel like I was making a big enough impact. And when I went through my Saturn return, which happens to everyone in their late 20s, early 30s, it lasts for a couple of years, I realized that I was searching for my why, for something more, and to really get to know myself again, and not operating from should, but more from desire, and from a place that is aligned with my own values, not the values of like my parents, of my community, of what I think I should be doing. And so my Saturn return was very much so a breaking of old belief systems that were no longer serving me, and a building up to this new version of myself, which then started Woo Woo Company, which is the holding company for Saturn. And I had started this business in Washington, D.C. In 2019, hosting events around the city, exploring different spiritual concepts and wellness modalities. And my business over the last 5, 6 years has really grown and changed. So for anybody in the digital room who is looking to start a business, my business has changed so much because I have changed. And when you have a spiritually led business or a spiritual business, it just grows in ways that are very different from like a more traditional, typical business. So I found my business really needing me to be center stage, to really be more creative, and the one leading workshops. So before, I used to have a lot of people come in and run the workshops. I was very operational, and now I am the one leading workshops, and I've learned lots of different modalities, from like Reiki to astrology, to help facilitate the understanding of like purpose and how to discover and unravel your purpose in this lifetime as it relates to career. And about 2 years ago, I had the idea to create an app, a website that made astrology much more practical. And at that time, I remember I really fought my intuition. I was just like, oh, like I just don't know if I could do this. I don't know how to do something like this. It's very time and resource intensive. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. But I always tell my clients, like, follow your intuition. And so I started this project, um, let's see, like summer of 2022. Yeah, I'm like, what year is it? And launched it last February, March. And since then, like over 11,000 of you have gotten your free report, hundreds and hundreds, their expanded report. It really was everything that my intuition told me it would be, the way that people would organically find me and understand my method of sharing astrology. So today, this workshop is so special because I'm going to be sharing how to access your intuition. And we're going to be doing some exercises around that, but also for you to understand if a focus on your intuition, on your developing your psychic abilities, is going to be a big part of your life. So for me, I have that. And it was very scary, and it still is very scary for me to lean into faith and trust. That is one of my biggest lessons in this lifetime. And I share my stories so that you can understand like things ebb and flow. And yes, I started Saturn in 2019, but that was When I left my corporate job, I had gone into entrepreneurship. I started an e-commerce company. I went back and worked for someone, which was not a great idea because I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't following my intuition. I was coming from a scarcity mindset. And so it's been a lot of ups and downs. And really, honestly, it was up until like 2 years ago that I like just wanted to quit my business. I was like 2 years ago, I finally was like, you know what? 2 feet in, fully committed. Because before that, I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not making any money right now, or like, I don't think anybody is hearing what I'm sharing, whether it's through like newsletters or social media. And I just kept on doubting myself. But slowly but surely, listening to my intuition, putting both feet into the water, walking through the door, and I just want you to know that if you're starting a business or if you're charting a new path for yourself, it is very challenging, but the most challenging part is your mindset and your ability to trust yourself. Because when you trust yourself, well, first of all, when you know yourself, and I like astrology to be a tool for introspection and knowing yourself. You trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you're able to take the best actions. And when you're able to take the best actions, you're able to really manifest a life that is aligned to your values, your needs, and your desires. Hope that was helpful. So, really quickly, I want to welcome you to the Career Manifestation Portal. If you've been following my content on social media or reading my newsletters, you know that this is a very, very special time. Kicking off with the full moon in Capricorn last Friday on June 21st, lasting for a full month, a little more than a month actually, until like July 21st, give or take, when it's another full moon in Capricorn. During this time, it is a powerful period for everyone, and especially with those with Capricorn placement. So if you look at your free report, if you see Capricorn showing up a bunch of times, or the number 10 showing up, then this is one that directly affects you a little bit more than others. I always like to say that collectively, we're focused on rapid manifestation related to career, especially in the month of July with a new moon in Cancer, a full moon in Capricorn. So during July, it is a potent, powerful time for you to welcome in things related to career and business, a promotion, a new job, expansion of your current business, starting a side hustle, more clients, more customers, you name it. And I'll be sharing more in my newsletters, but it does also involve the understanding and the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine within. So stay tuned for my emails for that. But this is going to be a beautiful kicking off point for this career manifestation portal because it is going to also ask you to really lean into your intuition. So, an intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. I really like this quote because the intuitive mind really is something that we haven't spoken too much about. People like to describe intuition, the intuitive mind, as like, oh, I just like knew, or I'm listening to my gut. A lot of men will just kind of take into account like, oh, well, I'm just really good at what I do. Women will be like, I just work really, really hard and I've done this for a very, very long time. But intuition actually is um you can disregard like age and experience. Intuition is always, always present, no matter what age, no matter how many years of experience that you have. And also, whether or not you have a lot of water signs in your chart, we are all intuitive. It's just some of us with these water signs are going to have it a little bit more pronounced than others. So again, what is intuition? It's that innate wisdom and knowing that isn't limited by age or experience. And I would love to know in the chat, like kind of the interesting experiences you may have had with intuition. Just kind of sharing like in the chat, maybe some questions you have about intuition. Okay, so we're going to focus on water signs today. Again, if you joined later, I mentioned earlier at the start of this workshop that this is really not a beginner's workshop. There's going to be a lot of things that I don't touch upon or I don't really elaborate on purely because we're focused on intuition today. So I'll do my best to answer questions, but for those with their expanded reports, it's going to be very helpful. There's going to be a lot more information there for you that I won't be able to share on the workshop today. All right. So For my visual learners, I want you to get your handy dandy chart and look at this wheel. This is your birth chart, all of your placements, but in the visual sense. I know that looking at this, it can be very, very confusing, but we're really focused on three different parts today. Three different houses. So we're focused on the fourth house, we're focused on the eighth house, we're focused on the 12th house, and we're focusing on these signs: Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Now, Cancer rules the fourth house, Scorpio rules the eighth house, and Pisces rules the 12th house. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces are our water signs. Now, our water signs are extremely creative and intuitive. I've chosen to focus on the water signs during this workshop targeted toward accessing intuition because they are the most naturally intuitive. So we have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. They obviously are slightly different in how they kind of manifest their intuition and how they move through the world. Cancer, very caring, very nurturing, represents like the mother, the divine feminine. It's very thoughtful, most likely working in education, therapy, healthcare, wellness, also maybe hospitality. Scorpio is investigative, very detail oriented, always seeking the truth. Depending on the Scorpio, actually, they could be truthful, they could not be truthful, and also very intuitive. Scorpios really are the truth seekers. They can spot bullshit from a mile away, and they can just read people so clearly. So if you have Scorpio placements, and don't worry, the next slide I'll talk about that. I'll toggle between these two slides. That means that you most likely are able to see things that other people don't. It's always so funny because when I do a reading and they have Scorpio, like especially in their sun, their moon, their rising, which makes up your big three, that astrological triad of who you are, I'm always like, do you feel like some people feel like you're very mysterious, that you always kind of say something that might throw like people off just because what Scorpios see at like just the truth, it's like, oh, this is so obvious. Most people do not see it as obvious. Lee. So Pisces is our last water sign. It is very artistic, it's musical, it's expressive, really kind of likes to be in an imaginative state. These are the signs that, this is the sign that really enjoys kind of being in another world. So if you have your sun, your moon, your rising in Pisces, you probably have a dreamy quality to you. Sometimes people are like, hey, like you don't seem like you're focused here, or they also could be late at times, but they're very expressive. They enjoy kind of getting lost in like a different world. So like a good TV series, like a movie, like reading. They kind of just like to go off to different places. All right, so we're going to talk about the planets today that I want to focus on in terms of if you have a water sign in one of these planets, that means planets, because some of these are points, not exactly, well, not exactly planets, but we say planets like just because it's easier. So we have our sun, the moon, the rising, and the north and the south node. Planets tell us what is happening in the birth chart in your astrology. So the sun sign is about personality, about identity. The moon sign is about your emotional world, how you process emotions, your inner world, and your inner child. Rising is the view you have of the world, kind of your version of reality, first impressions you have on others, as well as kind of like how people perceive you as well. North node is about purpose and life lessons, and the south node is about natural talents and past lives. So again, I'm going to go back to the characteristics so you can kind of understand like, oh, okay, so I am a Cancer sun. So that means like, okay, I have some of these qualities that are very nurturing, caring. Cancer also really likes to be at home. They can be quite nostalgic as well. I'm going back here. So the planets that we're focusing on, the sun, the moon, the rising, the north node, and the south node. If you're looking at your free or your expanded report, you can see all of your placements in the chart properties. That's going to be probably like the second page or the third or fourth page if you have the expanded report. So again, planets is what is happening. Now, this is a handy dandy graphic that I made that was in my newsletter a couple weeks ago. So understanding the layers of who you are. I actually really feel like the South Node is at the core of who we are. So if you kind of feel like some like misunderstood, or you don't feel like your sun, your moon, your rising really accurately represents who you are, it's actually because the South Node, which is about past lives, these natural skills, like things that just are very familiar to you. And in this lifetime, you're letting go of some of these characteristics and ways of being, but it's just a big part of who you are. Like I had a client last week, they didn't have Aries at all in their chart. And I was like, at the core of who you are, your South Node is an Aries. So you always want to do things by yourself. Like you're very direct, you're very passionate. And sometimes people may not understand that. Maybe you may not even understand it about yourself. And she was like, wow, I am so blown away because I do feel like that. And I've never known why I felt that way. So I really feel like the South Node is at the core of who you are. Then you have your moon sign, your sun sign, and then your rising sign. And then everything else kind of like floats around. Now, just to make a note, because I don't have this in the free report yet, but the North Node and the South Node are always going to be opposite of one another. So if your North Node is in Aries, that means your South Node is in Libra, as an example. Okay. So some of these characteristics again, just so that you have it. Cancer, very caring, very nurturing. Scorpio, detail-oriented, a truth seeker. Pisces, artistic, very expressive, and the most psychic of the signs. And the signs are telling us like how things are happening. So water sign houses. This is another area that we're going to be focusing on for the workshop today. So we have the fourth house is about home and family, like roots and ancestors. The eighth house is about transformation, death and rebirth, shadow work, joint resources, empowerment and power, sexuality, finance, and also just things that are taboo that people don't really want to focus on. And the 12th house is about spirituality, consciousness, art and music, emotional cleansing and healing. And you can see that the fourth house is Cancer, the eighth house is Scorpio, and the 12th house is Pisces. So each house has a sign. And then in your own birth chart, you have like a different flavor. So the fourth house is ruled by Cancer, but for you, you may have Aries in that house. So we want to also be focusing on the houses here, because if you don't have, let's say, any of these planets, any placements in a water sign, but you have planets in, let's say, a water house, that means intuition is going to be coming up a lot in your life. So really quickly, I wanted to bring all these things together. So through this phrase, so your identity, the sun, is expressed by nurturing, caring for others, Cancer, so the sign, through artistic expression, the 12th house. So we're bringing together the quote unquote planet, the sign, and the house, just so you have like a reference. And I can go back and show you these as well. But first, let me just see like what questions. Let's see. I really do feel like we're always working towards the North Node in our career just because we're spending so much time working that the North Node with its life lessons insights is just going to be just so closely related to your career. But for some people, you need like, oh, Michelle was like, oh, she couldn't see. Okay, she can see now. Okay, great. But some people, depending on other places they have, it might really influence your North Node. And that's difficult to tell unless I have like a closer look at your chart. Okay. Michelle's like, I have Cancer and Scorpio everywhere. Not yikes, it's good. If you don't have any of these signs in your chart, don't worry. I am going to share why the houses are important as well. And what is a lot of water signs in your chart? That is a good question. That's going to be three or more. So, the difference between intuition and anxiety, intuition really comes through in a very calm way. If we're too busy doing things, kind of rushing from one thing to the next, our intuition isn't always going to be able to reach us. Again, it comes through in a very, very calm way. We're going to do some exercise to really activate it as well. Anxiety is a lot faster and much more fear based, of like, oh, like I should be doing this. Like intuition is very calm, and I describe it as very, very confident. Okay, let's see. All right. I just want to make sure everyone can see my slides now, right? There isn't a problem. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a first example here. So I think it's the easiest, and I can go back into like the wheel as well to give some examples too, if that's going to be helpful. But we're going to look at the chart properties first. Now, I have a couple examples here just to make it easier for you to understand. And in consideration of time, I think I'll just cover two of these examples because I have three. So, in this first example, we see that there are a lot of planets in a water sign, but the planets are also in water sign houses again. So, we're looking at Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then we're looking for the numbers 4, 8, and 12. So this is going to give you an understanding of if the intuition is going to be a really, really big focus in your like life lessons in this lifetime. But honestly, like if you're listening to the replay, you're joining live, like intuition is something that you're already wanting to access. So I would focus less on like, oh, like, well, I don't have like the signs, or I don't have like the planets in the water houses. Like, don't worry. This is something that I just wanted to share, especially for those who do have a lot of water signs, and you haven't been tapping into the spiritual side of who you are, understanding your emotions, finding ways to really harness your emotions and accessing your intuition. This is a sign from the universe to start to focus on really opening up your intuitive gifts. So if you're looking at your chart properties, and you can see like on the left side, I've chosen to kind of highlight the planets. Like if you have planets in Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that'll kind of give you an idea of, okay, this is showing up a lot in my chart. So this is something that I should be focusing on. And the other way of interpreting is seeing if the planets are in the water houses, which are the numbers 4, 8, and 12. Okay, we're gonna skip number 2. So example 3. So this one has a little bit less. We see Mars and we see Pluto. Pluto is one of those planets that is like generational. So a lot of people will have like Pluto in Scorpio. So really, this person just has their Mars in Scorpio and then the South Node in Cancer. So again, I don't have the South Node here, but when we're looking at like earth signs that are north nodes, that means your south node is in a water sign. So looking at your chart properties here, I want you to go to your north node. And if your north node is in Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, that means your south node is in, let's say your north node is in Taurus. That means your south node is in Scorpio. If your north node is in Virgo, that means your south node is in Pisces. And if your north node is in Capricorn, that means your south node is in Cancer. So with a south node in Cancer, that means you've lived many lifetimes, and the qualities of that sign, whether it's Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, come very easily to you. So this is a core part of who you are. Remember the chart that I shared at the beginning of like the different layers of who you are and the south node being at the core? Well, if your south node is in a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, that means this is something that naturally comes to you. And in this lifetime, you're always going to be leaning into it, but actually using it to kind of more so in a way of like being very imaginative and expressive and grounding those ideas into reality. So I know that we're covering a lot of information that can feel very overwhelming if you are very new to astrology. So don't worry if this is kind of like going over your head. This is just for you to understand how, intuition, psychic ability is showing up in your chart. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat to see if there are any questions. Okay, no questions as of now. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the intuition exercises. So again, I want to emphasize that if you have your sun, your moon, your rising, or your north node in a water sign, that means that you have a big focus on emotional regulation, on accessing intuition, expressing creativity. And also, if you have any of these planets in the fourth house, in the eighth house, or the 12th house, that means that intuition like is still going to be like expressed, but in a more subtle way, in a different way. So again, we're looking at the occurrence of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and the numbers 4, 8, and 12 in that chart properties table. So you can kind of see if things are showing up like more than 3 times, whether it's like the numbers and or the signs. This is something that you're going to be focusing on this lifetime. So I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose and a deep exhale out through the mouth as we reset our energy and focus on the intuition exercises. Alexa says, my fourth, eighth, 12th house each have a water sign. So yes, even more emphasis for you. So the first intuition exercise that we are going to be doing today is one that allows you to focus on like answering a question that you have. So I want you to take a moment and think about a question that you have. You can write it down in your notebook, type it out. Or if you're like, I don't really have any questions, nothing's coming to mind, just allow yourself to be open to receive. And when you finish writing it down, or maybe just having it in your consciousness, in the mind, I want you to close your eyes and empty the breath out. And take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. And one more deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. Can you breathe in a little bit more air? Then let it go out through the mouth. And seal the lips. Start to breathe in and out through the nose. Feel the breath move through the back of the throat, down the length of the spine, and into the belly. And we're going to do a couple more breath exercises here to allow you to really settle into the body, settle into the present moment. Really feel your sit bones and your feet root down into the earth. And start to notice the rise and fall of your body with each breath in and each breath out. And then we're going to do some box breathing exercises. If you're unfamiliar with box breathing, we're breathing in for 4, holding up at the top for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding at the bottom for 4. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Two more times. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Last time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Come back to your natural breathing. And really lengthen your inhales and extend out your exhales. And allowing yourself to breathe even more deeply. Feeling the breath slow down. And as the breath slows down, you notice the mind and the body slow down as well. And I want you to bring your attention to your mind's eye, the seat of intuition, space between the brows. And allow your face to first relax by unfurrowing the brows, imagining your eyebrows moving away from one another, the cheeks softening, the jaw relaxing away, the lower jaw away from the upper jaw, and the tongue moving away from the roof of the mouth. Feel the shoulder relax down and back. And as you bring your awareness back to the third eye, your seat of intuition, you're going to visualize a chalkboard, a TV screen in front of you. And this is your intuition. Now think of the question that you had written down or had in your mind. And you're just allowing yourself to receive insights to help you take the next step in your career and beyond. You're going to start to see the answers show up on this chalkboard, on the screen, and maybe it comes through in a different way as well. Maybe another image comes up, a feeling, a thought, a smell, and just allow your intuition to communicate in the way that it wants to communicate. Maybe you see it as a reflection of yourself, a mirror image of yourself, and you're having a dialogue with yourself. Maybe you visualize yourself taking those next steps as you travel into the future. Just allowing yourself to receive the most important insights you need to receive in this moment in time, as well as receiving the answer to your question. And if nothing is coming up for you, don't worry. Just continue to breathe here, allowing yourself to feel more open, feeling the shoulder blades touch, allowing yourself to sit a little bit taller, And to release any stagnant energy, anything that's kind of feeling heavy or holding you back with each exhale. And with each inhale, breathing in more expansive energy, more freedom, more light, more spaciousness in the mind, the body, and the spirit. Empty the breath out. Take a deep breath in through the nose and an audible exhale out through the mouth. Enjoy a few more moments of stillness here. And as you're ready, gently open your eyes, coming back to the present moment and the present space. Now, I want everybody to get out their notebooks or their notes app and just start to free write. See what comes through. Maybe you're taking notes of what you saw, what you felt. If you didn't see anything, didn't feel anything, just start writing. Just see where the pen takes you. And I'll give you about 2 minutes to do that. Put on some music for you as well. And for those who want to share in the chat, I would love to know what came through for you. And we just did a short exercise, so don't worry if it felt difficult. Completely normal, especially as this is also during the day as well. During the workday for some of you, maybe the end of the workday. So give yourself some grace. Okay, just one more minute here. So Michelle is asking, wondering what it means when you see a word flash in your mind's eye, but it's backwards. So I would like to describe that as um, probably, when you have like a tarot card or oracle card that's like reverse, I feel like that is a very similar meaning in terms of like whatever the word is, you might have a difficulty in embracing it, embodying it. But know that anything that comes through the meditation, the visualization, it's meant to make the most sense to you. So it's important for you to ask yourself, like, what does that mean? What am I telling myself? I hope that was helpful. Okay, so I have one more thing to share that is going to be really important for my friends who have um, water signs in their chart and planets in water houses. So again, three or more of these signs or these numbers. So Angel says, my question was, what career path should I focus on? I saw faces and a small white light. It comes and goes. I couldn't see it clearly. Angel, I am going to share the replay, so I would recommend doing this exercise again, so that you can get a little bit more clear. Okay, so for the energetic hygiene, um, for those who have water signs in their sun, their moon, their rising, or their north or south nodes, or water signs kind of appearing three or more times in their chart, or seeing the numbers 4, 8, 12 more than three times in your chart, this is going to be something very important for you. Now, ener energetic hygiene, hold on, let me pause the music here. So, energetic hygiene is something that allows you to reset your energy and no longer feel so strongly the energy of a place or other people. You can think of it as like you're going to like a party or you're going into a meeting and there's just like a heaviness that like kind of you leave with, or it was like a very exciting meeting, very energizing meeting, and then you feel that as well. Or maybe you are talking to someone on the phone and they're just like sharing a lot of heavy things with you, and that like really stays with you. This is one of the reasons why it's important to have this nice, strong, energetic hygiene so that you can continually cleanse your energy. So what you are feeling is yours only. And some of the ways that I like to cleanse my energy is to go outside, let the sun shine on your face, moving your body between readings. Like I will go outside for a little bit. I will like do some jumping jacks. I'll stretch my body. I also, at the end of every single day, I take a shower to kind of visualize like everything through the day kind of like leaving me. And I especially like if I'm going to an event with lots of different people, I will take a shower. Sometimes I take multiple showers in a day because it's very helpful in cleansing energy. You can also do this through meditation by just like closing your eyes and imagining kind of like white light bathing you, or you taking a shower as well. Setting intentions is very powerful too, whether it's like going into a meeting, going into a job search, starting your day. Setting those intentions allows you to be energetically aligned. An example intention could be my intention for this workshop was to allow people to really access their intuition and to receive the insights that they really need in this moment. So setting intentions is very powerful to kind of focus your energy, and also awareness of your surroundings. So if you have a like a toxic boss, or you have family members that are taking too much of your energy, or friendships that kind of feel imbalanced, um, it's very important for you to be aware of those. And I know that we've already gone through those lessons this past year, year and a half, as we have the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. So we've been going through a lot of friendship changes already. And right now we're integrating, getting new friends and reconfiguring like our friend groups, and how they're organized and how we relate to our friends, and the closest that we feel and the types of relationships we want to have with people. But it's really important that you keep in mind of the situations you're in, whether it's like parties or meetings, work environment, and especially for, being empathic, you can't just invite anybody into your home. So it's very important that you kind of find ways to reset the energy of your home as well. I like to do it through using Palo Santo, kind of moving through my home, selenite, just like setting an intention, or like closing my eyes and just imagining kind of like a bubble forming around like my home to protect it. So those are some things to help you with just cleansing your energy and feeling less pulled in many directions throughout the day, especially if you're engaging with a lot of people or have people who really kind of need you and look to you for like advice, for counsel, all of that. All right, let me see what questions we have. Or, um, Luli says, when you say having three or more signs or houses for a 12, do you mean only looking at the sun, the moon, the rising, north or south node, or on all of the planets? No, we're going to look at all of the planets. But if you have like a water sign in your sun, your moon, your rising, your north and south node, this has a bigger emphasis. For how intuition plays into your life and your decision-making process. Janelle says, I'm jumping rocks on a river stream, photos in nature, healing, traveling, starting to write my book, words that flowed in free writing, feeling calm, at peace, clarity to see, freedom to just be, stillness. Not sure what it means. That is a stream of consciousness. It's kind of like, it sounds like what your soul wants, to be more playful. And I know that you've been doing these things as well. So it just means like you are on the right path. No water signs there except in South Node, but I have three houses or three planets in the 12th house. Yes. So the South Node is important because with the water sign in the South Node, it means that you have lived many lifetimes, really connecting with your intuition. And in this lifetime, it's about using your creativity, using your intuition to kind of create the life that you want and kind of grounding your imagination into reality. Yes, you're so welcome. All right. So I have a quick Q&A, but I know that we have another question just came in. I also don't have any water signs in the fourth or eighth or 12th houses. They are all fire signs. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It just matters like the planets in there, as well as if you have like planets in water signs. Now, I know that this was a lot of information. But really what I wanted you to receive was the intuition exercise to really strengthen your intuition. And let's see, we have one more question. I'm fourth house dominant and I'm wondering how to utilize everything. It is Capricorn as well. So with like Capricorn in your fourth house, which is ruled by Cancer, there's always the balance of feminine and masculine because Cancer is like the feminine sign. It represents like the mother, and Capricorn represents the father. So really this next month you have the opportunity to balance the divine feminine and the masculine within, like trusting your intuition but also taking aligned action. It means that you have a very practical approach to your intuition, and sometimes it can feel like a little bit too practical. So being aware of like, okay, Capricorn is a very practical sign, and how you connect with your intuition might be very practical as well, kind of through work and through home too. Alexis says, are you opening more slots for the career reading? I missed the June slot. So I have those career manifestation portal readings available, but I think I only have July 8th left. They're only a limited number, but my longer career astrology readings that are 45 minutes, those I don't have any in June, but I do have them next week in July. Okay, so I want to cover this question that I have. Let's see. Um, So this question is, it's quite long, but I want to read it because I think some people may also feel the same way. I intuitively felt my North Node placement, and at this time in my career, I feel like my Saturn return is affecting me more than my North Node. I saw the list of industries that are supposedly in alignment with my values. Some of them I've already done. So I feel like I've been there, done that, don't want to revisit or have no resonance with some of the suggestions. I was a catering convention services manager in food and beverage for over a decade and worked in the meetings industry, project management for another decade plus. And then I worked in tech, which was awful. I disliked math because I had terrible experience with the math teacher in fifth grade, and numbers have never been the same for me since. I also witnessed the failure of a friend's catering company in the past, so I have no inclination to work in finance or be a business owner. What to do if I'm not currently in alignment with my North Node jobs to explore? I don't want to be resistant to my North Node, but I am having trouble allowing what should come easily at this point. And they also say like they practice meditation and they listen to their intuition, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm looking at their chart, and what I see is that their North Node is in Taurus in the second house. Their Saturn is in Pisces in the first house. So Saturn return happens in our late 20s, late 50s. And so let's see. With a Saturn in Pisces in the first house, it means that there's a lot of learning happening right now related to identity. So when the identity changes, that means everything outside is changing as well. And this person has a lot of planets in the first house, and we've been going through a lot of changes around the self and as well as what we are doing in relationship with others. So there's a lot of things changing within that kind of the dust needs to settle, as well as there is the push to kind of get to that next stage of intuitive understanding and access. It's not just enough right now to do the things you've done before. It's about taking a step further and deepening the spiritual practice and connection to intuition and psychic ability. So probably also kind of learning, maybe like taking like Reiki, or learning a different modality that deeply connects to spirituality and energetics will be very valuable. And with the North Node in Taurus in the second house, that very much so is about feeling stability from the inside out. You're never going to feel stability going from like job to job and needing the job to help you feel stable. With the North Node in Taurus in the second house, it's actually a big lesson in understanding how to upgrade your money mindset, a new relationship with money, so a new relationship with math and numbers, as well as understanding like the importance of like building that strength and stability from within. So when we're looking at ideal jobs to pursue or business to start, the North Node is a wonderful place to start, but there's an amalgamation that happens when we're looking at all the different things that come together. So it's not just always one thing, but the North Node is a powerful place to start to kind of get you on the right track. When you are older, when you've gone through like your second Saturn return, it's important to kind of dive in a little bit deeper and kind of look to see what had happened during the first Saturn return, and then what's happening, like what are the messages and lessons that kind of are coming through right now. But yes, one of the big lessons is to be more comfortable and kind of standing on your own 2 feet, and not looking externally for support, and to get more comfortable with money and how money is a tool. So that's the example that I wanted to share because I thought that many people would resonate with it as well. And Jen says, I am a North Node Pisces and thinking of starting a business. Wonderful. I'm super excited for you. Probably something like spirituality, healing, artistic, creativity related. I would also kind of look at what other signs really show up in your chart to kind of give you an understanding of like what you're being drawn to. So I know that was a lot of information. Are there any other questions? Was this helpful? What did you think? I haven't done a workshop like this around intuition. So for the next one that I do, I will take your feedback and try to make it clear, more concise, more helpful. So I'll stop the recording now.